Hello and welcome back to Very Good Video Games. My name's Levi, I'm your host once again, and I'm back from vacation, and I'm joined once again by Scott and Dylan. Gentlemen, how the devil are you doing? It's been a long time.
We're doing great. Thanks for asking.
Had a dreadful time playing this game.
Ooh. I want to change my answer. Me too.
Nope.
It's been an absolutely dreadful time playing Metroid Dread, the game that we're going to be talking about today. I got a little fun trivia about Metroid Dread, actually, for you here. It's developed by Nintendo and Mercury Steam, a developer from Spain. The game Metroid Dread was originally announced back for the Nintendo DS, I believe, back in the mid-2000s. And then it was never heard from again until the summer of 2021, where they just, like, during a Nintendo Direct, just were like, oh, and by the way, here's Metroid Dread. It's finally coming out after, 15 years or so of just no word whatsoever.
Wild. So wait, did you say DS or 3DS?
Nintendo DS. Yeah.
What? That's weird.
That's crazy.
Well, I remember Samus Returns came out for the 3DS, and I feel like that was a little bit of like a test run. It was like a test, like, test the waters. Dude, I mean, they know that we want Metroid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Samus Returns was like kind of like a reimagining of the series, and they adopted a lot of the gameplay stuff from that game into this one. Which,
some of it, apparently, yeah.
Yeah, which I thought turned out really well. Like going straight into it. I mean, okay, I guess before we get into the gameplay and stuff, we got to say spoilers ahead for Metroid Dread. Yeah, Metroid Dread. I personally haven't played many of the Metroid games other than this one. I played Metroid, Super Metroid. I think I got about halfway through it, and I know that game is held in very high esteem, but I personally just couldn't finish it. You know, the gameplay just kind of felt like it had aged a bit, and I can totally see, like, if I had played that game when it first came out, like, I would have just been like mind blown, like as far as like aesthetics and like just the feel of it and everything. Like it just was so cool. Like the music, the graphics is incredible. But yeah, I just felt like it hasn't aged perfectly. So I really appreciated the gameplay of Metroid Dread. What have you guys have any experience with the Metroid series other than this one?
Yeah, so I've also played Super Metroid. In fact, I played it when Metroid Dread came out because I hadn't played it, and I did it in anticipation. And that was like a year ago basically.
Mhm.
And I remember just loving it. I was like pretty damn impressed. I know, like you said, it's maybe a little rough around the edges, but considering it's from Super Nintendo era, I was thoroughly impressed by that. I know this is not a review of Super Metroid, but
Spoilers.
now
I've
is.
also played Super Metroid, and yeah, now it's a review of Super Metroid as well.
Yes. No, but it is held in such high esteem because it is so good. And just another game that I have played is the actual original Metroid, which is dog shit. I hate that game. It's so bad.
Yeah.
It's like, I get what they were going for, but it's like Super Metroid perfected it.
Yeah.
And I guess I also played the Metroid Prime trilogy, but that's just, it's kind of a different experience. Still very good, but not quite the 2D experience of of most Metroid games.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about the GameCube series, and I guess it's on Wii as well.
Yeah, the third one was released on Wii. In fact, there's the trilogy disc that I have for Wii. Yeah.
I was kind of hoping that they would remake that for the Switch, just the trilogy, just so I could actually fully dive into it. Because I think I'd only ever played Metroid Prime 1 at like a friend's house when the game first came out, and just had no idea what I was getting into, and never got to really dive into it. It always seemed cool.
So it's interesting because you two have kind of seemed to have recent experiences with Metroid. Well, for me, I actually have a pretty extensive history with the series.
Oh yeah.
Starting with the most well-known Metroid game, Super Smash Brothers. Samus was, since I picked up the game when I was a kid, my main, and that was also my cousin told me, like, oh, did you know Sam's actually a girl? It's like, no way. It's like,
no way, man.
If she gets shocked, like, you can see her outline is like clearly a woman. It's like, oh shit, it is. Like, it's like it looks, there's boobs in that like pixelated outline.
See those polygons, man?
Yeah. See how there's more triangles on the chest. So I was kind of exposed to it really early on, and then like Levi's experience, one of my friends got Metroid Prime on the GameCube and saw us like, whoa, this is different from most other games that I've seen, especially on the GameCube. But it was really when I was a teenager that I started to go through the back catalog. That's when I originally played Super Metroid, but also the Game Boy games and the first Metroid Prime, which were all relatively recent at the time. And then I basically put down the series until Metroid Dread came out. And when I picked up Metroid Dread, I actually replayed Super Metroid kind of in anticipation. And I agree with Scott, it holds up pretty well, although also as Levi said, it's kind of clunky in places. In particular, the controls. The difference between controls are night and day between Super Metroid and Metroid Dread. I would say.
Yeah. Something I think that I really appreciated about Metroid Dread over Super Metroid, and this is something I say I think almost every episode, is that I love awesome, fun movement, and Metroid Dread is just like full of it. Like I think a common thing that I don't really like about the Metroidvania series is that you start off really underpowered.
I'm just gonna. Metroidvania is not a series; it's a
All right.
genre.
Okay. Yes. The Metroidvania genre is that you start off like usually pretty underpowered and like with no abilities whatsoever. You know, maybe basic just jumping, shooting, what have you. And then you slowly, as the game goes on, unlock or gather more and more abilities. And usually by the end, you're this big powerhouse, like usually like flaming swords and flying across the map kind of thing. And that's something I usually don't like about it, is because I usually like being able to access the fun aspects of a game like earlier on and let that kind of speak for itself. But that's something I liked about Metroid Dread, is that I found a lot of the movement abilities you unlock in this game, you get like fairly early on. Like for example, the I can't remember what any of the abilities are called really, but like the one like you like tap A and you kind of like zip 3 times in a direction on a horizontal line. And like you can do it 3 times in succession or just like once and be done.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
just like I just called it the dodge.
yeah, it's like a dodge dash kind of thing. And then
Yeah,
there's also like the super like run, the super jetpack run. We have to run in a straight line
yeah,
for a
Yeah,
while.
the Shine Spark.
Yeah, Shine Spark. Yeah. Oh
yeah.
man, I
Speed
like.
booster, shine spark. Two different things, kind of.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Kind
one
of,
was
not
from Super
really.
Well,
Metroid,
the
right?
shine
Yeah.
spark is specifically when you hold it and then use it and like release.
Oh, okay. Mm.
Okay. Um,
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
yeah, no, I just really appreciated the game like giving those tools to you early on, because man, some of the puzzles and some of the movement you could do with those abilities, specifically like the Shine Spark jetpack one, whatever.
Those okay, so the speed booster shine spark
Yep.
puzzles were maybe my favorite part of the game.
Yeah.
They were very fun to figure out, and I remember before I'd even played the game, I remember talking to Drew about this, and
Hmm.
he was saying like how much he liked the shine spark puzzles. And
Yeah.
I have to agree that they were very clever. There was one that I had a little bit of grief with because there's a mechanic with it that is not explained in game. But as soon as I looked up the hint of like I didn't look up how to do this one puzzle, but I basically did because there's this mechanic where if you aim yourself diagonally at a diagonal surface,
Oh,
like if you shoot yourself into it, you actually continue running with it, and so you can and then you can store it again. It's a very specific and
right.
weird mechanic that isn't really used very much in the game.
Yeah. I think yeah, I think I know what you're talking about because I looked up some solutions to the puzzles because I was like, I was seeing some that like you clearly had to like load the shine spark in one room and then use it in like 3 rooms over. I'm like, how in the hell am I supposed to do this? I
Yeah.
looked it up,
Yeah.
saw someone complete the puzzle, and like I was still, how the hell am I supposed to do this?
You're like trying to
And
look up a guide and it's like, I feel like that didn't help at all. That was
yeah.
so complicated.
That's the thing. It's not explained in the game, but as soon as I looked it up, I sort of remembered it from previous games that I think I saw in speedruns because I think they use it in speedruns.
Oh, I can totally see that.
I think it's even in Super Metroid. I can't remember for sure, but I think it's an old mechanic that is just
Yeah.
it's not really talked about.
Right.
It is very interesting. I was a little bit annoyed by the Shine Spark actually, because on the one hand, although I really appreciated how creative you had to be with it, the fact they didn't really explain the whole if you're on a diagonal surface, you can use it and then store it again,
Mm.
like really meant I couldn't solve the puzzles and I was not patient enough to really.
There was only
Yeah.
one puzzle that I
Yeah.
think really took advantage of it, so
Oh.
I think if you didn't solve any other ones, then that's just on you.
There's a few of them for sure,
Oh,
actually,
okay.
that do
Okay.
rely on the diagonal thing.
hmm
I only used it once. I must have just figured out a different way, maybe. I don't know.
Did you
Yeah.
100% the game though?
Yes, I did.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
okay.
Completionist as always, Scott.
Well, that's the thing that I was actually very surprised about with this game is that I did 100% it because typically I'm in the 75, maybe 85% range in Metroid games. Like there's just no way to find everything, but in this game I found that they made it a lot simpler,
Mhm.
which
Yeah.
I didn't know how I felt about that just because I don't know if a game has to be easy to 100% to make it, like, worthwhile, you know what I mean? Like, it should kind of, like,
hmm
take a lot of effort if you really wanna find everything and be a completionist.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
because
I
this
guess
is
something that
this game's not really a collectathon style game, you know? It's not like
yeah.
Kirby or Mario where it really implores you to find everything.
hmm
In a way it does though, because it kind of ended up just becoming that after always telling you how much how much you collected at the end of the games, so I don't know, Metroid almost kind of did evolve into a collectathon style game where it's like, you gotta find all the missile packs, and
Oh my god, the missile packs.
dude, the missile packs are everywhere. You gotta find all of them, dude.
Man, I'll talk about the missile packs, like going through like a crazy like shine sprite puzzle or something, getting to the end and be like, yes, what did I unlock? And it's like, hey, increase your missile capacity by 2. I'm like, damn it, man. I mean, I had a lot of fun solving the puzzle, but I felt like some of the times the rewards for the puzzles were a little bit like cheap. It felt like
It's
there's
an
just
It's
so
an
many
interesting
missiles.
design. Yeah, sorry.
Mhm.
It's an interesting design choice because, in the one hand, I think most Metroid games are actually very focused on the core gameplay loop and progression. So the
Mm.
reason why you're getting missile packs and health tanks is because that's what you need to complete the game. You need some stuff to damage the final boss and to tank lots and lots of hits from the final boss, which we will discuss the final boss at some point. Um, and so that's what they make the collectibles. There's no like, green bananas and blue bananas to get at the same time.
Mhm.
Oh my god. No one's 100%ing DK64, bro. Um, actually, yeah, speaking of, like, the loop of the game, how do I put this? You know, in my experience with the Metroidvania genre, I find that I tend to, progress and do a little exploration, go back to places that I
Yeah.
remember. Whereas this one, yeah, I sort of deviated if something was close by or if I happened to be passing through a place, but I found that the game's flow really kept you going along the main path, and it's funny calling it a main path because it is such a maze-like map that
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
end up actually staying on route pretty well. I found it quite genius how they kept you on the game's main path.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I felt like they really utilized the entire like map of the entire world that you play in like really well. There's only like a couple of places I felt were really just like offshoot kind of like side quest areas that
Mhm.
ended up once again just getting you a couple missile upgrades, but were
Yeah.
still fun puzzles on their own. But yeah, no, I totally agree. It was really good for being such a maze labyrinth. Like it was really good at keeping you shot in the right direction.
Yeah, basically before I got to the final area, and it's pretty obvious it's the final area, I was, like, not really exploring, and then when I found the final area, I was like, "Alright, I'm gonna go exploring and look for everything," because I actually knew that I had all the tools to find everything.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Because I
And
know,
oh
like, the
man,
power bomb takes a long time to get to eventually, and I kept seeing these things around, and it's funny
yeah,
because I know that there's a power bomb, but, like, I kept forgetting that there was one.
Did
yeah.
Did you find the part where there's a power bomb upgrade and it's hidden behind a block that says you need the power bomb upgrade for it? And it was like, what the hell is this here?
Well,
Yeah, I found that.
it
Yeah.
made a little sense. I was like, obviously you get it somehow their way, but it did make you go a little bit of like a "Arr?"
I found I was finding power bomb upgrades before getting the power bomb, and
Yeah,
every
dude.
time you do that, it's like, oh, you don't know what this is yet, but save it for later, kind of thing. And I'm
I
like,
did get 1 or 2 before, yeah.
So I'm actually gonna sidestep to the plot because that's actually really funny. So the plot of the game is this is actually the last Metroid game in the canon. And the funny thing about Metroid is that even though it's not Nintendo's most popular franchise, it is the only game, as far as I know, that has like a 100% consistent canon where every game is canon and you can track everything on a very clear timeline.
Well, there's a
yes.
timeline for Zelda now.
Okay, yeah, that's and he's talking about like one where they
I'm
had
kidding,
planned
I'm
on it
kidding,
having
I'm
like
kidding.
a consistent timeline.
Anyway, so it has 100% consistent timeline. So of course, there's lots of other games where Samus gets, say, the super bomb or something. So the fact that she is doing this and is looking at this is like, I don't know what this is. It's like, lady, 6
I've never
months
seen
ago,
this man
you
in my
blew a
life.
planet with these.
Yeah, that does make it harder for the devs, like sticking to a very consistent timeline, like finding like a good story reason for why you need to get the same upgrades
Well,
mostly again.
guys, in this it's explained very clearly in this. It's physical amnesia.
Right.
Wait,
Physical amnesia.
That's
that
what
a-
the term that's the
is that what it
term
is?
her Adam AI says, yeah.
Oh
And it
yes.
just
Well,
yeah.
Sorry, I
Well,
thought you
no.
were making a reference to Other M and its reason for why she can't use her stuff. I was
No.
looking this up where
I never
yeah,
played Other M. But
apparently
Nobody should.
it just makes me think of, "Oh no, my power-ups."
yeah.
Just tripping and all of them falling out of her pocket.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Hey, to the people listening, and you know what I'm talking about, you must be old.
Yeah, that's an old reference. Very obscure old reference.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Mhm.
looking up Other M's method of how you forget your power-ups. I guess you do okay, she doesn't even technically forget her power-ups in that game. It's just that because she's working with like the Space Federation, she isn't technically like she's not the commanding officer or something, and so her commanding officer gives her authorization to use certain power-ups that she already has for the mission, and that's how you unlock it in that game. And it's functionally the exact same as in this game and every other game. It's just that like from a story standpoint, you're like, what? Just let me use my super powerful suit to destroy all our enemies.
Right, I know, and this is one of those games from the era where the story doesn't really matter that much, you know?
Mhm,
The story in the original Zelda is like, yeah, you gotta go get
Mhm.
this princess. Same with Mario.
mhm.
I can't remember what the original Metroid technically was about. I
The
think just
Go
Metroid
and
princess.
killing
go
the
and
Yeah.
kill the
Metroid
Metroid. Yeah.
Yeah,
princess.
Princess
Yeah.
Samus or something, yeah.
Yeah. So I know that like obviously all those series have adapted to make the story a little bit more engaging and interesting, but
Mhm.
they still just focus on the gameplay first and then tack on whatever explanation they want.
Yeah.
Whether it's fucking some colonel saying this, like you can and can't do this in this mission, and then or you just physically forgot.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, talking about story though, for Metroid Dread, I found like the story and the cutscenes to be like really cool.
Dude, the
Like,
cutscenes were so
Mhm.
badass.
like I felt like it reminded me a lot of Majora's like Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, where you're playing a sequel, and like this character you're playing has like a huge history that everyone knows is like they're a badass. In Majora's Mask, they represent that in game by like right at the beginning, you're playing as Link from the previous game, Ocarina of Time, and like he's gone in that story, gone and been an adult, defeated Ganon, like he's a sword master basically, and now you're a kid again, and right off the bat in Majora's Mask, you're like every time you jump, you do like little like somersaults and flips, and you can just see he's like super acrobatic and like he has all those memories. And so I thought it was really cool that they represented that in Metroid Dread through the cutscenes and how just badass Samus is, and like some of the moments it's just like a total anime cutscene or fight scene. And it's just
Samus has always been a badass, dude. That's like the main appeal. Is just
totally,
that
but
she's like so hardcore. She's just like, She doesn't give a shit about anything. Just like will fuck you up.
Yeah, and I felt like they really represented that well in the cutscenes, like, because like they finally have the ability to do that. Because most of the other games, I mean, I don't know about Prime, but like the older games, they couldn't really display that as succinctly
Even
as they could in these
well,
cutscenes.
Prime was on Wii and GameCube. They had the capabilities to do some cool stuff. They just didn't.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah,
there were some cool cutscenes, just not the same as Dread, where they're very action sequences. Like
yeah.
Samus does not tend in the earliest games to be characterized that clearly in terms of cutscenes.
Mhm.
It's all lore and her actions in game that lend her characterization. In some other games, there are essentially text cutscenes where she's like talking to herself, and that's like the Game Boy Advance games where
Right.
you can't really do much on a Game Boy Advance, so they just put text over single shot or something.
Yeah.
This is the first game that people like that really has Samus doing things in cutscenes and even speaking at one point
Mhm.
that still maintains her like core character traits, but still manages to give her some personality independent of her in gameplay, which I think they did amazingly well in this game, actually.
Totally, they did a
yeah,
great job. Like, in that one scene you're talking about when she meets the Chozo scientist and, like, finally speaks and I
Exposition man.
exposition oh, yeah, that's a huge exposition dump. But,
his
like,
name was Quiet Robe. Just
Quiet Robe,
Yep.
yes. Just
It talked a lot for a guy named Quiet Robe.
Yeah, no, they did a great job, and, like, that one scene where she first speaks, like, it almost feels like the way they shot it was almost like a build-up, like a big reveal, even though, yeah, she has spoken in previous games. It's, like, the first time where they were like, "Okay, we have a really clear idea and, like, a good idea of, like, how we wanna portray the character of Samus and how badass she is,"
Mhm.
and they really, like this is from me who hasn't played the other games. It's just my idea of who the Samus character is. Like, I thought they just nailed it. Like, she seemed like such a cool, like, powerful, strong woman and a total badass. I loved it.
yeah, she doesn't say she actually the only line she says is actually spoken in the Chozo language.
Yeah,
Mhm.
So
which I
that's
thought
why
was
it
perfect.
worked. Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought that worked really well
It's such great characterization.
because obviously in other M she talks like such a weak little bitch.
She
Ridley.
the thing that always surprised me because I've not played other,
Oh
but
my
I've seen
god.
like 30 seconds of cutscene, like that's it. That's all I need from this.
Yeah.
And the thing that's striking on the timeline is like this is after Super Metroid that it's happening. Like she is a she was a hardened badass in canon when she was like 16
Mhm.
before any of the games, and then she acts like that when really the way she's characterized in Dread, where she speaks one line in Chozo, it's just like, yeah, bro, I'm gonna do this. Is
Yeah.
basically the translation.
Yeah.
It's great. It's perfect. That's all you need from her, and it speaks volumes to who she is as a character. That paired with both her action and gameplay, and the bit of screaming she does in cutscenes at times.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I actually really appreciated some of the, loading screens and stuff, like, even though it is loading, like, I like it when games do that where they kinda, like, just give you moments with the character, and especially with a character like Samus, who is usually by herself and really quiet, like, in the scenes I'm talking about are when you're using, like, the train system to travel between maps or the elevator system. It just, like, has a loading screen of Samus just standing there, and it's just, like, quiet, and it's just something about it just seemed like perfect for Samus, and it was just like I felt like the art direction just was just oozing out of this game in every frame, basically. It's as far as like gameplay goes, like the world design, the cutscenes. Oh, it was just I loved this game. I loved it.
I love it.
I
It
like it.
was real good.
I just love the way it tastes. Well, I first off, I feel like we haven't even talked about like the major thing in the game, which is the Emmys.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Okay,
Okay.
well, yeah. Let's
Not
get
not the
into.
award show, the robots.
Mhm. The award-winning robots.
The award-winning robots.
um, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, what did you guys think about those the Emmy sections? Like, it kind of turned the game into a little. I think it was going for like a horror aspect of it. I don't think
Mhm.
it was
Yeah.
necessarily. It didn't execute it like that perfectly, but it was still like suspenseful. I found.
Yeah.
Metroid has always been basically, I say this with all the love in the world, Alien for 8-year-olds.
Well,
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's Ridley's basically it's literally a name from the Alien
Mhm.
movie.
well, pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
Ripley is the
No,
Yes.
but
Oh, yeah.
Scott
It's
Scott
Ripley.
Ridley directed Alien
oh, Ridley Scott. Yeah, yeah, you're
or
right.
Ridley Scott.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
actually, yeah, obviously you're right.
All
Never
right,
And
mind.
sorry, sorry.
Ridley definitely looks like they took some design decision or
Mhm.
inspirations from the Alien.
No,
Mhm.
but yeah, they've always tried to go for a little bit of a suspenseful factor in the
Yep.
Metroid games, I thought.
Yep.
Not too much. It's not trying to be fear based or anything,
Yeah,
or
it's
Outlast.
Yeah, but
yeah.
I mean, the subtitle for this game is called Dread, so it kind of felt like they were kind of going for a bit more of like a
Mhm.
spooky, maybe like
It
almost
was spooky.
dreadful tones
Mhm.
in some spots.
Actually, like the music is really creepy, like the little
Mhm.
Yeah.
noises they make. They have the little grainy filter when you're in the Emmy zones.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And even like when Kay was downstairs and was watching me for a little bit, he's like, "This is kind of creepy."
Mhm. Well,
Yeah.
especially when you're like hear them making more noise and they're creeping up. It's like, I just gotta get through this section, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden you see
Yeah.
like the field of view come in at the side of the screen. Nope,
Yeah,
nope,
dude.
gotta.
It
It is
zooms
intense.
in to restrict your vision to build the suspense and stuff. Yeah,
Ugh.
I thought it did good for that. Like
Yeah, man, running away. I mean, running away was one thing when you were kind of like, okay, I'm used to this one zone, but going into the new zones and not
oh
knowing where
my
you even have
gosh.
to go, and you're like freaking out.
Just
You're like, fuck, I need to go.
running
You're like stressing
running
out.
blind and like coming into a dead end. You're like, ah, shit. And then you get grabbed and then you have to do the freaking timing of like the parrying. Oh,
How did you guys do with the counters, by the way?
Mostly good, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would definitely say like 20% of the time I would successfully parry. And I have to say, like, at first it was 100% of the time. And then by the end of the game, I was
At
like, I feel like
first,
I felt like I got the timing down later on, even though like,
you can't time it though.
no, I know, but like I kind of got used to the timing that they would kind of shoot for in like a timing window, so to speak. So I just like randomly push X when I thought they were going to.
Yeah, that's what I would
You just
do. Yeah.
have
Yeah.
to get
It
lucky.
was a luck. Yeah. Okay. I was
Yeah.
gonna say, I was
Mhm.
like 20%. I don't even know if I did that well, but maybe. I don't know how many times I got caught really.
I felt like I could reliably like if I was caught one time at the end of the game, 50% chance I would counter them the first time they
Mm,
caught me. But the thing is, the timing window keeps changing.
yeah.
So if they caught me twice, I would always lose the second one.
So I was quite
Totally.
pleased with myself when I was in a new zone and like trying to escape, and I was like freaking out, and it caught me at a dead end, and I was just like, I got out like on the second attempt on it killing me, and then it's like it grabbed me again within the same chase, and I escaped that one as well, and I was like, fucking
Wow.
crazy.
Damn, that's when it gets really intense.
Yeah.
I
That's
know.
cool.
It was one of those times. I was like, I should have been recording. Oh well.
The only time I really kind of lost my patience with the Emmy sections was the water level. Because
Oh,
for
was that the
two
one that
reasons.
could see you no matter what, or it could always hear you?
It could always hear you, and you were
Hmm.
really slow in the water before you
Yeah.
got the gravity suit. So I was like fuming at one because I kept getting caught over and over again, and I kept like losing my route. So I was like, "Fuck!" It's like I'd be sitting in the corner in my morph ball form, but
Yeah.
losing energy because I
Yeah.
was invisible. And it's like, okay,
So
he's
funny.
gone. He's gone as far as he can. Okay, I gotta start moving. It's like immediately hears me. He's like, "Fuck!" I just gotta climb up the walls.
That part was pretty difficult, yeah.
Oh, it was totally difficult, but I didn't fully realize that that's what that particular Emmy, like that's his power was, is that he could hear where you were in the entire map all the time. So I was just sitting in the Powerball, like invisible, and be like, okay, he's gone. I'm gonna move and be like, beep. And like, oh crap. Okay, hide again. Hide. Wait. Okay. Okay. I think he's good. Okay. And I was like, what is going on? Like, is he just not leaving? But yeah, I was a little slow to that realization, Dylan.
I think
So
it tells you.
I
I
must
don't
have
think it
missed
really
that.
tells you.
I swear Adam, like the AI tells you.
He might have. I don't know. I definitely missed it though.
Yeah, I don't know. I picked up on it very quickly. I don't know. Were there any other parts that felt like really difficult for no like personally, there was a bit of a blunder on my part, basically right away. because I can't remember all the zone names, but the lava area to the right, when you first get there, I was confused because like there's nowhere to go in it. And so I just left and was like stumped. But it's just classic Metroid. You're just supposed to shoot a wall and continue. Like I
Yeah.
would just, it was just such a blunder on my part, but I was like what the fuck? Like, how do I
That
do
was
this? How?
that was the only time I was actually substantially lost in the game.
Yeah.
And I like went there, saw I couldn't go anywhere, and exactly that. I wandered back and forth between the zones before it was like, yeah, usually when this happens, you just gotta start shooting blocks on the wall. And maybe if I shoot over here, oh, there it is. It's just a fake wall.
It was just
Yeah.
one of those times where it's like again, another time where I had difficulty was it was the one of the higher zones with a lot of Chozo artwork in it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
And
yeah.
there's two Chozo units that you have to fight. They're quite fast.
Wait,
And
the warriors or the like automatron kind of guys?
oh
The
shit, right.
robots.
There's two ones. It's basically it's right after you get the the quintuple missile.
Oh yeah, the
Um
multi-locking missiles.
The multi-lock
power-up?
missile,
Yeah.
So right after I got that, you go into that fight, and I was just like having such a hard time with that fight. And then I'm just
Mhm.
like, oh yeah, wait, guy, come on. This is a Nintendo game. You have to use the tool that you just added to your arsenal.
Yeah.
And it immediately was like, oh, this is easy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
See, that's the thing. I did not like those enemies specifically, like the robot Chozo warrior dudes. Like the first time you fight them, I think is in like it's like one of the first times you go to the jungle zone.
Yeah.
And oh my god, I don't think I died that entire game other than that first fight with that guy. I died like 10 times. And I was like, what the hell
Oh,
am I doing wrong with this guy?
that's really good. Actually, yeah, did you guys
Yeah.
take a photo of your mission results?
No, I didn't.
Okay, because I actually died 65 times.
Only a few off.
I can believe I died in the hundreds. Like I was dying quite a bit in this game, actually.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just spots where you just randomly get fucked.
I have to double check my stats, but I don't think I died that much, but I
Yeah.
was playing on easy.
What?
Oh, that would definitely be it.
Oh, no
So
shit.
maybe that's why.
Okay, yeah.
I'm here to experience the story and that's it. Okay.
Oh yeah, the thrilling story.
And the movement. And the
Actually, I
movement.
always get annoyed with games that lock difficulties behind beating the game. Not
Oh
that I
yeah.
thought that I needed to play on hard mode for this. I found that normal was quite adequate for difficulty level,
Mhm.
Mhm.
but it is nice to have the option right off the bat.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Um, I think that kind of ties into this game's like replayability, though, is like what they're trying to go for. And also, I think we briefly mentioned the speed running aspect of it. And we were
Mhm.
talking about this on the Neon White episode as well. But like, I feel like they really like were trying to go for a speed running kind of thing with this game specifically. Because like, yeah, with like the whole mission results and like your time, and it's
Oh,
like,
well, Metroid has always had that.
has it
Yeah.
always had that? Oh,
It
okay.
has always had
It's
that.
always
And
told you your clear time and your percentage of items.
yep.
Oh,
And
okay.
actually, in the earlier games, so in this game, I believe that the different ending screens are locked behind item completion, but actually, traditionally, it's been time completion that determines the ending.
Oh,
So I
okay.
think Super Metroid, in order to get the like the classic Samus takes
The
off all her armor and is in like her underwear, basically
the
the
bikini
bikini,
ending.
yeah, the bikini ending, you need to complete it within 3 hours or something like that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Um, which is all about just knowing where to go as you play instead of wondering, I'm
Mhm.
like, what am I supposed to do now, etc.
Yeah. Yeah, getting that bikini ending the first playthrough would be quite the feat.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, her feet. Oh, her feet are in it.
I want the feet ending.
If you complete in half an hour, you get that.
Yeah. Yeah, some of the fights. Oh, Kraid being back in this game. I know he's been a previous boss in I think Super Metroid, but like, what are
Metroid,
the?
Super Metroid, the
Oh,
Primes.
really?
Oh, he's
Mhm.
like
Okay. I
he's
thought.
like a
Yep.
staple. He's as much of a staple as is Ridley. So I was a little shocked that Ridley didn't
Oh,
make an appearance in some
Mhm.
form.
yes,
I
that
know
was
that
something
he's
I was gonna
died a
say.
billion times, so he should be able to come back again. But whatever.
I was gonna ask, like, what are the logistics of him being here, and why is he chained up? But I don't know if it did that
Shows I
get
don't like
answered?
him that much. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
just
it shows in one of the ending screens if you complete it. Like it shows him being chained up by the Chozo warriors.
oh, okay. By what's his name? The main villain,
Ravenbeak.
Raven.
Ravenbeak. Yeah,
Hmm.
very bird theme name.
Hmm.
Hmm.
By the way, so interesting thing about Kraid. So I think you're supposed to fight him before you get the morph ball form and the bombs with the morph ball form.
Before, no, you have to have the morph ball to get into the little like
Okay,
mouth area to get to his zone. Yeah.
but do you need the? Okay, then it's the bombs. I think you're supposed to get after. You can
Hmm.
get them before though, and if you look it up online, when you know when you get knocked off the top platform, you're down there, and he has like that big purple belly button thing.
Oh yeah, that looks infected. You gotta get that
I
looked
know.
at, bro.
No, here's the
It's
thing though.
it's healthy.
No, if you have the bomb and you put a bomb in the little corner of the platform that you're on, you can actually shoot up like with one of those like morph ball shooters, and it shoots you into the belly button, and you bomb in it, and it
Oh
immediately
really?
defeats him.
What?
That's actually like a special thing you can do in the
That's
game.
hilarious. Oh my
Wow.
gosh. Samus becomes his like belly button ring for a quick sec.
Yeah, you can look it up on YouTube. It's actually really fucking funny.
I like that they designed some like skips in this game because I've heard from like the speedrunning community, like SGDQ and stuff. I think I've watched a couple speedruns of this game. Um, that there's like a couple areas where you can just like bypass the intended area you're supposed to be in at that point, and then go back with the upgrades that you've got for tech. It's technically supposed to be from later on in the game, and just like like I like that they thought about that because like with such a big open map like this kind of impossible for them to stop everyone from finding ways of getting around certain things. I mean, this game did have like 15 years of development time, so I guess they could have put the time in. But yeah, no, I just liked it. I like the game design. I like it. I like movement.
Mhm.
I like movement. I like game. I like game.
You like game? Okay, wrap it up, boys. That's the review.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Levi, you said that you were on easy mode to experience the story.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
how do we feel about the story?
I thought it was cool. Like in in correlation with like the rest of the series, like it's kind of like the build up, the fact that it was a continuation of all the other games. Like I thought it did a really good job of continuing it, and the overall story is basically Samus getting a contract to come to this planet ZDR or something like that because there's been a sighting of the X parasite, I believe.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then you eventually find out that Ravenbeak like tracked or like lured her there because she is like the last living being with Metroid DNA in her system.
So the reason being that Metroid DNA was used to fend off the X parasite in her.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Is my Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's the story in the I think Metroid Fusion where she gets Metroid DNA put in her because the Metroid were developed to fight the X.
Mhm.
And then that's what also makes her immune to the X and why she like absorbs them whenever she physically like touches a floating X parasite.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, and then so
Actually, a
yeah.
really funny thing in the game, sorry, this is just very random, but when you find all the X parasites, like where they are in Dread,
Mhm.
it kind of just felt like she opened the door for them and was like, "Oops."
Yeah,
Yeah, oh,
he
yeah,
kinda
dude.
did. Yeah, there's that one shot where, like, you open up the containment area that they're in, you go in and explore, and then when you walk out, there's a cutscene that plays where she's, like, walking out, she's kinda like, "Well, shit."
It kind of just felt like it's like, "Did I forget something?" It's like, "Oh,
Like,
the door.
"Ah,
Yeah.
damn,
The
close the
cat
damn
got
door."
out."
Yeah.
And then it's really funny. So another spoiler alert. So in previous games, Samus basically uploaded her old commander's personality into a computer, and her computer in her ship is called Adam. And she's supposed to be communicating with Adam throughout the game by like these computer systems. It's actually not Adam after the opening scene. It's Ravenbeak like pretending to be Adam. But at one point after Samus releases the X, Adam, the computer, says like, "Oh, this must be a devious plot by Ravenbeak. Who else could release the X?"
Oh my god, yeah, he
Yeah,
does
he
say
did say
that.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so funny because
Yeah.
yeah, I remember I remember writing down it's like apparently Ravenbeak did that, but
It looked
Yeah.
like we did
did
that.
he? Now I
Yeah.
don't know. Now I have no idea.
That's so funny. Like that he's impersonating, like, yeah, he's kind of like a mustache twirling villain. Like, oh, it must have been Ravenbeak. Oh, it was
Yeah.
me. It was me all along.
Yeah.
I think it becomes I don't know how, but it definitely feels like it's hinted at early on that you're
Yes.
doing as Ravenbeak wants you to do. Like he wants
Mhm.
you to keep getting stronger.
Mhm.
I didn't clue in that he was Adam until like it's basically the reveal.
Yeah.
So one of the tricks, actually, if you've played the previous games, this is not something I figured on my own. This is something I looked up. Is that Adam always called Samus lady? Like that's just what he did to
Mhm.
kind of like piss her off because she didn't like it. So he's like, "Oh, lady, do this. Lady, do this." And then he
Oh,
calls her lady early on in the first cutscenes as she's going down to the planet, and then he
yeah.
never refers to her as lady when you're talking to him
I
through the
noticed.
computer interface.
I
I
subconsciously
did
noticed
not
that.
notice that.
Wow.
I did
Yeah.
not notice that.
And then I think he may say it like one time when you get out of the planet and you actually encounter him on the ship again. He
Mhm.
he's a little bit different when you encounter him there. So that's how you also kind of clue in that Adam's not really Adam. The other thing is that he keeps complimenting Ravenbeak and like, oh, you're no match for him at
Yeah.
all. Like, he's way beyond your abilities. It's not a fair fight. You have to
Yeah.
get stronger.
That is pretty funny. Actually, yeah, thinking back on that now is very funny.
Yeah. Wow. I for some reason I totally forgot about the reveal, but yeah, that is
Mhm.
hilarious. God.
Also, Ravenbeak is your dad. That's another thing.
Yep.
That was a major thing, and I was quite surprised that they went with that.
The classic Star Wars reveal.
It was a little bit of a Star Wars reveal.
Yeah, it was interesting though that it was never fully explained before this, and kind of weird that it wasn't. But Ravenbeak used Samus's arm cannon, and that's kind of why she uses that weapon too. It's that it's his thing,
Yeah.
and he contributed DNA to her like techniques. So that was
Mhm.
kind of an interesting spin on it.
Yeah, I can see that. I definitely just at the beginning, like the first cutscene when you first see him on the bridge and you have that like, kind of duel with him real quick. I just saw that as like, oh, okay, this is just like Chozo power armor. This is like the way that they
Yeah.
weaponize it. But no, I guess that makes sense. He's kind of, yeah, he's like the progenitor, the first
Mhm.
version of Samus.
I'm your papa. Squawk!
Mhm.
Actually, talking about that first cutscene, I guess that makes sense as to why Ravenbeak just leaves Samus there, because like they have that fight, and then he's got her by the neck, and then she kind of like starts passing out, and then goes bug eyed for a second, then it cuts, and then she wakes up on the floor. Like I was assuming that it was just because like her Metroid powers were awakened, and then like it kind of injured him or something, but. Like it might have been a combination of both, but it might have also just him been like, okay, she needs to get stronger before I can fully take her out, I guess.
Gotta toughen the girl up.
Yeah.
No, the whole thing is that he wanted to clone her to make the most powerful Metroid army, which, by the
Mhm.
way, we can finally call Samus Metroid now.
Yes,
Yeah, she
finally,
is
we have the
Metroid.
title character.
She is now the eponymous Metroid.
Yeah. She's finally Metroid. Now, if only Link were to become Zelda finally.
He has to go to the clinic first.
I definitely wanted to talk about some of the boss battles. I mean, I guess I already mentioned the Chozo duel one.
Mhm.
One little one, like I can't remember. I should have written down some of the creature names,
Hmm.
but you'll know which one I'm talking about as soon as I say it. There's one where it starts blowing wind in a direction, and you
Oh, that
basically have
one.
to become Flappy Bird for a little second there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one.
I quite liked that. That was a
That
fun
was good.
mechanic.
Mhm.
Just the boss fight with Ravenbeak, actually, we should talk about because I thought that was
Oh my
so
god.
intense. Like
So,
I was
okay.
just about to say that like all the bosses were pretty hard, but that one went to
Mhm.
like Cuphead, like Inkwell Isle 3 level threat.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, here's my review of it is that I played Super Metroid right before this, and the end of Super Metroid, in my opinion, is really disappointing because the Mother Brain boss fight is not that difficult in the game.
Mhm.
It's cool looking, good design, but it's not that fun mechanically. And I had that in mind going into this one because I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, this
Yeah,
is
dude.
so intense and it's such a well-designed boss fight too.
It
I
is.
yeah,
It's hard
it's
as nails though. Like
yeah,
holy
Yeah.
like
shit.
I'll say for all the boss fights in Dread, I liked them a lot because they all felt like puzzles where like once you
Mhm.
kind of figure it out, it was easy, but it was getting your head around like the exact timing of the mechanics. Like you might kind of know what to do, but you still need to work through it, die a few times. With that one, it was like get fucking good or get out. And I actually
Yeah.
had to like completely go through the game again looking for more health and missile packs just because it's like I'm only getting like I got to phase 3 once and then immediately got my ass handed to me.
Mhm.
Like after so many tries on phase 1 and 2, I need to level up. Like it
Yeah.
was
I was a little frustrated with just being like, fuck, there's a third phase.
I know.
This is really hard. Like you have to do pretty well to just even learn the phase for like the
Yeah.
third phase.
Yeah. It actually
Mhm.
it reminded me a lot of like Elden Ring or Dark Souls kind of bosses a little bit.
That's I felt like they were really like looking at Dark Souls bosses like
Actually, I was
yeah,
gonna
Metroid
actually I
needs
just
this.
said it. I actually just said what it reminded me of was it really does remind me of Cuphead bosses where you have to memorize the attack patterns.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because even actually, I don't know if you guys played Boss Rush afterwards. I played it a few times just to give it a shot.
No, I
It
didn't.
really felt like a Cuphead connection there. Like, you know, Cuphead was inspired by a lot of stuff, but like the way that your mechanics work in the both those games is like actually kind of similar. Not exactly the same,
Mhm.
obviously, but like there's
Mhm.
platforming in some of the levels, there's counters,
Jumping and spinning in the
there's
air.
dodges.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. One mechanic that I didn't actually get the first time in the fight with Ravenbeak was putting the power bomb down to take out the golden sun that he spawns in the third phase.
Yeah.
I didn't
Oh, I did not get that at
I
all.
figured that
I
out.
did that.
I figured that out in the boss rush, but not in the actual like final fight
Oh
with him.
man,
Fair
that would make it
enough.
so much harder if you didn't do
Yup.
that.
Yeah, I didn't do that at all. I just had to dodge the stun. Yeah,
Let me tell you, it sure did.
yeah. I still remember the first time I saw it, he put up the stun and starts shooting out as he's trying to like do his like Kamehameha blast at me and get like, how the fuck am I supposed to do this? That was my reaction to it. God.
Yeah, I died to it a few times at first, then I was like, okay, well, I have to be able to stop this somehow. Like, there's no way I can dodge that. I can't time that. I'm not that skilled. I'm playing on easy. And so I just like started throwing everything I had at him and eventually found out. I eventually found out the super bomb is the way to go.
I can't do that.
I'm playing on easy, man. God.
I don't know. Power bomb just never really occurred to me as a attack option, even though it is very powerful.
For
Yeah.
me, I was actually using my power bombs for them because in phase 2 he has that attack where he like flies from one side of the screen to the other. But if you're in morph ball form, he won't get you. So whenever I went to morph ball form, I was like, I'm just gonna drop power bomb while I'm down here to damage him.
You didn't just slide?
No, I
Oh,
morph balled because I'm like, oh, I drop bombs and get some extra damage in.
fair, fair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, the boss fight was really good, I thought.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then obviously, I guess after the boss fight, the
Oh.
Metroid classic, planet's blowing up, people.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So but I think Levi talked about the idea like, oh yeah, you start weak and then you go get like more and more powerful. But this
Yeah.
game, you don't start off that weak. You still have some fun moves. But in terms of getting more and more powerful, that
Oh,
is an
man.
all-time record
Oh,
for
Yeah.
right.
just
Sorry,
the
I forgot. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, you go Metroid Saiyan in that mode.
Yep.
At the end
Yeah.
there.
you go Super Metroid.
Yeah, you go Super Metroid, yeah.
I'm yeah, like supersonic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said like you're just running through the plant with the beam just blasting in
Oh
front of you.
man,
Whoa. So OP.
it
it
was
was-
so awesome.
It was awesome and like just kind of funny. Like
Yeah.
I don't even know what triggers the planet to explode, but it's
kinda-
just, you know.
It's like
It just
Samus losing
happens.
her powers and you having to find them again. It's like, it's happened again, guys. You gotta do it.
Bro,
Yeah.
listen, Samus went there to take out the X-Parasites. She understood the assignment.
Yep.
That's what she said to Quiet Robe. She got it done.
Yeah. Oh,
Yep.
speaking of Quiet Robe.
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
what the fuck was with the ending? Like, why? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after
Yeah.
you meet Quiet Robe and then he gets killed by the Chozo robot.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
gets murked very quickly.
Yeah.
And then he gets infected with an X parasite.
Yeah, and then the X parasite doesn't seem to like just copy him. It like fully takes over his body, and then it kind of like merged with his consciousness, I think, because
That's not what happens with ecparasites. They just
no,
take
I
on the
know.
form of a being and then
Mhm.
but that's the thing, an ex-parasite usually would attack. Wait, I don't know.
But
It just didn't make any sense to me.
It
yeah,
felt to me like the X parasite is like I don't know if it's like a singular organism or if it's like a collective consciousness, like merging
I
with
think they work as like a singular thing.
yeah,
mhm.
okay. But like
Yeah.
merging with Quiet Robe and all the knowledge he has on X parasites and stuff might have been like I don't know if it was just like a self-preservation thing where it's like, okay, I'm not gonna try and just take over everything. I'm gonna try and be peaceful and get out of here.
His spirit overpowered the ex-parasite.
It was just
Mhm.
so
Which
damn
and then
quiet.
again, I feel like this is like one of those things where I just don't understand the absorption thing, where it's
Mhm.
like, okay, so she can't touch the ship because she's gonna drain the power.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Well, that was a Metroid thing though,
Yeah, yeah,
not a
yeah. I
X-Parasite.
know that Metroids do that, but then why would her absorbing an X parasite nullify the Metroid effect that she's going through?
I don't
I
know.
It
yeah.
felt very Majin Buu logic from Dragon Ball Z, where I didn't understand anything they were talking about.
Yep.
Yeah.
It seemed to just yeah, I feel like they're just kind of making up like rules for the X parasite and kind of shifting around exactly what it does as they go
Mhm.
along
Yeah.
for plot or dramatic convenience.
Space magic.
Yeah. It's it's definitely where the lore and, like, the story kinda fell apart a bit.
It was very
Even
minor for
though it
me.
was like, the ending was still amazing and super cool. It's just
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
just a
yeah.
little tiny tidbit here and there where you're like, "I don't understand that really."
Yeah, the thing about the Metroid story is in this case it's better presented and feels more thematically coherent. It
Mhm.
doesn't mean it's exactly a tight plot necessarily.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
No. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No. Yeah. Okay.
No.
So, in conclusion with Metroid Dread, then, like, what did you guys think of it overall? Like, as a game, like, did you enjoy your time with it? Was it fun? Did you enjoy the themes? If there was many deep themes to it.
Yeah,
So
that's the thing. I feel like we usually have themes to like follow up with that we talk about, in a lot of the games that we've talked about, especially with like
mhm,
the previous one being the Forgotten City, which we won't talk about because Levi
Yeah.
hasn't technically played it yet.
Mhm.
And this one doesn't necessarily have a theme because it's just meant to be a video game.
Yeah.
Like
And honestly,
and it
It's just Nintendo's way like of making games. Like Mario doesn't have a fucking theme
well, I don't know about that.
except for misogyny.
yeah, oh, Saji definitely. Um, I would argue that the game has themes and vibes, but no, like, it doesn't necessarily have a thesis to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
And
so.
It's
you know
like,
what? That's
here's
okay. Sometimes
yeah,
we just got to play games for having fun, and that's what we
mhm,
want to do. Sometimes, actually, every episode of this podcast, we want to play games that are fun, and if they have a good thesis along with it, then that's just a bonus.
mhm.
You
Yeah.
don't play games for fun, you play League of Legends.
On easy mode. On easy mode.
On easy mode.
I only play Yumi. Okay. If you play League, you know what I mean. Um, okay, well, yeah, no, I personally really liked the game. I thought it was tons of fun. The combat was way better than Super Metroid, which I bounced off of quickly. But being able to shoot in 180 degrees, that'll do it. That'll do it for me. Um, the story with its problems was overall good. I liked how it continued the actual story from the previous games and stuff. Yeah, I really like this game. I think it's one of my favorite Metroidvanias actually. Yeah,
Mhm.
of all time.
I would I would say as a more long-term Metroid fan, I'm really happy with it. I didn't fully commit, but I ripped through this thing in like 2 days where I just started playing it and just would not stop all day. It's
Mhm.
just I gotta keep going through this. It's so good.
Hell yeah.
Um, I would say that in the modernization, there are some things that I feel didn't translate fully from the previous games. The tone, except for the Emmy sections, was not quite as potent ambient as say Super Metroid was, but it's more than made up for in terms of the gameplay improvements and the story improvements. especially just the movement is so much better. And even something like the speed at which you transition between rooms, which is measured in seconds in previous games, where in this one you just can rip through the entire map within like 30 seconds.
Mhm.
It's a huge improvement. And the thing about being a Metroid fan is that they release so few of the games. Like,
Yeah.
like you Zelda people at least get a few games every decade. We get one or two.
Yeah. Yeah, this one
Like,
Yeah,
took
that's
15
fair.
years.
That's fair.
so I hope they just make more Metroids and like can actually use this template as a springboard for whatever they want to do next. And they
Totally.
get to us faster.
Yeah. I'm hoping it's gonna be another Metroid pinball.
Yeah.
I guess my final thought is, yeah, just game was really good. Yeah, I don't know if I have much else to say. I think if you listen to the podcast, we all really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think if
Game
there
was
was like
good.
any final thing. I'm just trying to think if there was a final thing that I wanted to say about it.
Game was
I th-
good. Play game.
I
Fun
think
game.
one I
Game
think one of the
good.
yeah, I think
Game
this is
good.
a game where like there's no real like negative sore points to it like that are bad. Even if the story is a bit underwhelming in places, like that doesn't really detract from it substantially.
Again,
And
I
the
think
things
the
that are really
few
good are really good.
times I think the few things I could say, like the few things I could negatively say about the game were me being dumb at certain points in the game and just having the difficulty locked behind beating the game.
Yeah.
That's
And
pretty minor.
and I would add onto that the classic Metroid kind of way of exploration. Like it only happened like once or twice, like you were saying, where like
Oh,
you were
actually,
stuck by because you couldn't find the one block you had to shoot.
I just
That didn't
remembered what
happen
I
that
wanted
much.
to say because Dylan, sorry, just
Yeah, go.
going off of something Dylan said is one of the things that you don't want to do is stop playing this game because you'll all of a sudden feel very lost.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because it also, if you stop at the wrong point, you don't know if you need to go up, left, right, or down. So
Yeah. That's
you
true.
kind of want to keep your momentum going. There's certain games where you don't want to stop because there's a certain like mental momentum you have.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Actually, I find I'm that way with a lot of games. Like if I were to go back and play, say, Elden Ring,
I
I feel
just
like
restarted it recently
Mhm.
and
yeah.
I kind of I feel like I stopped myself at a point where I kind of knew where I was supposed to go, but it
Mhm.
was weird where I was like, what was I doing? And like they don't have like a quest marker system in it.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. So no, that's a good point. Yeah, I could definitely see stopping playing this game for like a significant amount of time, like a week or two, and coming back to it and being like, I am completely lost. I don't really want to start from the beginning, and I could
yeah.
totally see myself just never picking it up again. So yeah, I would definitely just beat it if you can.
Go, go, go. Speed
Go
run.
go go.
It's good enough
Um,
to do that.
Yeah. I was actually thinking of speedrunning the boss rush because I was watching some of the speedruns for that and I was like, these look sick and they're very quick if you can get good at them.
oh, I can
The
imagine.
record was like 5 minutes.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Um, okay. Well, I think that's pretty much it for today. Hey guys. Like,
Yeah, I don't need to say
Mhm.
anything more. I'm out of
yeah.
words.
Okay. Well, I guess
I
before
want
we
to press buttons.
yeah,
Yes. Tell
before
us which
we
buttons to press next.
the next button we'll be pushing is the one in the game Somerville. And if you're not familiar with it, it's a game done by one of the co-founders of the studio, Dino Patti, who worked on the original game, who originally worked on the games of Limbo and Inside, which are some of my favorite games. And
Same.
if you haven't played them, I highly recommend those games as well. But because he's come out with this new game, Somerville, which looks to be very similar in gameplay to those to Limbo and Inside, which is just like adventure kind of side-scrolling games with heavy emphasis on narrative and environmental puzzle solving and stuff. Just because it's from these same guys is the main reason why I wanted to play this. So yeah,
I think we're all excited to play it
Yep.
because yeah, the environmental storytelling in the previous two games are just again chef's kiss.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't know if
So
that yeah.
yeah, no, that I think that's a technical term for game design and stuff. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, play that in preparation for your next episode, and that's pretty much it from us. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you're listening on your favorite podcatcher, please rate and subscribe there for more episodes in the future. I'm Levi. I've been joined by Scott and Dylan, and we've been Very Good Video Games. See you all next time.
Peace out.
All right, I gotta get out of here. My house is gonna explode in 3 minutes.
Oh shit, run!
Bye, everyone.